Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Groom A with Humanery. We're very excited to have you here, and even more excited to have with us Dr. David Jack, who is a medical doctor with a background in plastic surgery, is an expert in the world of cosmetics. And in fact, his brand, Dr. David Jack, is also stocked at Humanery, some of these exceptional products that I personally use as well. Dr. David Jack, it is a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Groom A with Humanery.
Thank you very much for having me, Sid. Nice to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's actually start with your story. Do you mind telling us a bit about yourself and how you got to the point of starting your skincare brand?
Yeah, sure. So I started, I guess in medical school, getting kind of interested in skin and then kind of skincare, looking after your skin. And after I kind of graduated, I went sort of direct my career into plastic surgery, primarily burn surgery and skin cancer surgery and reconstruction. And during that time, I kind of realized that there was so much that we could be doing that people are generally not with their skin. And also kind of when I was treating patients with burns in particular, I noticed how much people responded to good nutrition as well. So when it came to skincare and skin health, I wanted to kind of create a brand which incorporated elements of that with a very kind of simple approach, a very surgical approach almost to how we look after our skin. So using things that we really need, eliminating what we don't need. When I was working in the NHS. And gradually over that time, I've found that people come to me and they say that they don't really know what they should be using on their skin. They find that they're being sold lots of products that they don't need, or they feel they don't need or aren't making much difference, or are using so much that it's really irritating their skin at the kind of other end of the spectrum. And getting lots of sensitivity and stuff. So I thought with my range, what I wanted to do was kind of coalesce everything into just a very small kind of capsule of products that you can use very simply on a daily basis, but which will include all of the ingredients that you could possibly need for your skin to provide support as it's aging, as it's kind of changing with the seasons. If you have any skin conditions as well, then the ingredients will be very anti-inflammatory, so reduce any of the sort of impact of any of the conditions that people might be suffering from. And it's taken a long time to kind of get those products into a kind of development phase where they're ready to actually be sold to the public,
right?
That in formats that will do all of those things. So that's taken me about the last 3 years to kind of develop those products. And I mean, as I'm sure everybody is aware, the number one thing for the skin is to protect it from UV light. That's the number one cause of aging and skin damage and things. So SPF has always been a very important thing for me. So when I was developing things, I wanted to have as high a possible factor of SPF, but in a format of something that would do the protection, but also do a lot of other things. And that's how I developed the all day long product, which is the kind of core number one product that literally everybody should be using.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, curious to hear about your story. What was the toughest part of getting started with your skincare brand?
Yeah, so I think there's a number of, it's always a struggle, like with any, as you know, Sid, being an entrepreneur and things, that with anything, it's always an up and down thing, and some days are great, some days are awful. And I'd say with skincare, it's a crowded market in skincare. So it's trying to kind of stand out from the crowd is a very difficult thing. Yeah. So with that, what I wanted to do was have the best formulations that you could possibly have, which this is why it took me about 3 years to do. So I went through hundreds of iterations of every single one of the formulas to get it right. And I'd say that that's the toughest thing, because that takes a long time. So every time we'd be sent out a formulation, there'd be something to tweak, an ingredient to change, a texture to change to get it just right. And this is the kind of really frustrating and long-winded and expensive process.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's one of the toughest things. The other kind of second most tough thing I would say is kind of getting out there and getting brand visibility and things, getting to know about the brand, which is a challenge for any kind of new business.
Correct. And how have you cracked some of that?
I mean, with the formulas, I think we've cracked it. I think with brand visibility, we're just starting to get a bit more visible. That's definitely not being cracked yet. But thanks to kind of retailers like yourself and things, where people are starting to hear about the brand and starting to kind of love the products and things. And that I always find, as with my clinic, always word of mouth is the very best way to kind of get people engaging with things. If people love something, then they'll talk about it, and that's much more powerful than any kind of any sort of social media advertising campaign or anything. So, but it's a slow burner. So that I'd say that's been another really tough challenge for.
Right. Of course. Okay. Understood.
Yeah.
And I can completely empathize with that. That's also been something that we constantly spend a lot of time on here at Humanery.
Yeah.
But actually coming back to the specific characteristics of your products, you talked about, let's take just the all-day moisturizer, for example.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I love using, just to put it out there. So I'm biased and I need to put that disclaimer up. What is the thing that makes this special? You talked about it not just being an SPF protection formula, but having all these other things. And we also hear from others that ingredients are what make the difference. And that's very, very interesting to learn.
Yeah. So with this, I mean, it is a challenge because everybody's skin is different. Everybody has different levels of oiliness in their skin. Everybody's skin is slightly thicker than others. Different levels of pigmentation, different levels of sun damage, but essentially the skin is an organ like the heart or like the lungs that needs a particular spectrum of things for its health. So, and which is a universal thing. So everybody's skin has the same layers, everybody's skin has the same types of cells, everybody's skin has a very similar sort of physiology. So with the ingredients that you're putting in products, what you want them to do is provide all of the support to each of those aspects of the physiology of the skin. Okay. And also with this one in particular, the protection that literally everybody's skin needs, but without kind of changing the balance of things in a negative way for particular groups of people. With, say, you don't want to have people who have very oily skin making it more oily, or very dry skin making it more dry. So using sort of levels of ingredients that will be effective but which won't kind of overwhelm the systems and won't work against the kind of intrinsic physiology of the skin, which we're trying to support. So it's kind of universal levels that we're using of the active ingredients that will not irritate, but will actually provide a lot of sort of reduction in inflammation and things, which will work the same regardless of your skin type, basically.
I see.
So it's kind of getting those concentrations right, not going for just like huge doses of everything, the way that a lot of skincare brands do, to kind of really overexfoliate the skin or really kind of deliver results within like a few days or something. Like it's not a good approach to do it that way. If you do a kind of slow and steady thing with the correct concentrations, you'll need a sort of particular level of active ingredient, but going above that is just kind of excessive. And although it might give you a result like a little bit sooner, in some people it will irritate. So it's using those kind of optimized concentrations of ingredients.
How fascinating
for everybody.
That's often people will have a specific concern, let's say with their skin, hair, in this case skin, and they'll want to solve it immediately. What's your advice for people who come to you with, I just need to get rid of this problem, David? Like,
so often the case that when people have skin problems that they're coming to see me about will be because of some sort of inflammation or irritation or disruption of the skin's microbiome, which is a really important part of our skin. And in almost every case is the case that people are just doing either too much to their skin or they're doing nothing at all, and they expect results straight away, which with anything in medicine is not going to be the case. There's very little, apart from very acute medicine, that will give you a kind of, if you're having something in your heart or your lungs to kind of unblock a clot or something, those are the things that will happen immediately. With things that are kind of inflammatory conditions in the skin, it will always take a bit of time to settle down inflammation, repair the microbiome, and then kind of support the skin to kind of repair itself, which with skin repairing itself, it will take weeks. So with skincare and also over-the-counter skincare, which all of this stuff is, and all of the stuff that you see in a retail setting is always going to take time to really see longer term results. So that is always the approach that I have. Patience is super important. Using good products is super important, not scrimping on your skincare, because you do pay for differences in formulation, and my products are relatively expensive. So, but what you're paying for is this kind of complexity of ingredients and things. So So investing in your skincare over the longer term is going to give you much better and much more sustained results than trying to get something quickly.
So how does one know, David, whether they're getting the right formulations and ingredients? Because we get this question a lot. First question we get is, well, what's the issue with buying products with just what I see in the supermarket? I mean,
Sure.
what am I missing out on? I mean, I don't know why that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are so many products in the market and things, and some products in supermarkets will be great. And I wouldn't sort of diss everything just because it's at a lower price point. If you're looking for something that's going to really help your skin, then you want to be kind of investing in a more medically based brand, because the ingredients will be much better curated for particular skin issues, for reducing inflammation and things. All of the binding agents and all of the kind of additional things that could potentially cause irritation in slightly cheaper products will not be there in better formulated products. So that's a kind of key defining factor of more medical grade sort of retail skincare, I would say.
So let's say someone is just getting started, right? So and as you know, our focus here at Humanery is to get more men into the art and the benefits of self-care, and that, of course, a large part of that is your skincare and the regime you create with it. What would be your advice for someone who's completely brand new, has only just learned, oh God, actually I can feel much better in my skin with the products and the regime that I use? So starting from scratch.
So starting from scratch, I would say that the number one thing that everybody needs to be doing is using an SPF. So that's a non-negotiable thing.
And how does that work? So SPF, when would you use it?
Sunscreen, you would use that. I mean, ideally, sort of in the morning before you go out. So you would use an SPF just before your skin is exposed to any sunlight, basically, direct sunlight. And then usually throughout the day, particularly if it's sort of a summer day, you want to be reapplying that a couple of times. To provide the same level of protection that you're wanting, and as high a factor as possible. In the UK, generally, the legality is that we would say SPF 50 plus is the kind of ideal that we're aiming for. So if you're new to skincare, that is the thing you have to be doing, and that will provide you the best kind of way of anti-aging your skin and preventing further damage. So further on from that, the other thing that I would say is that a good thing to do for your skin is to use antioxidants in your skin, which they basically reverse oxidative stress, which is created in the skin itself by UV damage, by kind of metabolic processes that are happening in your body. And that causes damage to collagen, it causes pigmentation development, it causes sort of disruptions in the skin's microbiome if you have inflammation in your skin. So using something like vitamin C is an example of an antioxidant, which is good to use in the morning because it has a slight photoprotective effect, meaning that it kind of helps protect against future UV exposure. And vitamin C works very well with other ingredients like vitamin E and ferulic acid and glutathione to kind of augment the effect of the vitamin C itself. So I would say using a vitamin C as a serum in the morning is a really good second step aside from the SPF, and you would usually use that before you use sunscreen. So sunscreen is always the last step before you go out of the house in the morning. So use a vitamin C serum in the morning, SPF before you get out of the house. SPF can be combined in a moisturizer like what my All Day Long is. So you don't need anything in addition to that. And then when you come in the evening, it's important just to wash your face. We're all exposed to pollution nowadays in the world. We want to neutralize that pollution. So using a good cleanser that would just kind of have some antioxidants in it, because pollution causes oxidative stress. Wash that off. Wash off some of the debris, because often with pollution you get lead and other heavy metals sort of diluting in the skin's microbiome and causing inflammation. So you want to wash everything off and then use something to kind of support the microbiome that's being washed off, and also support the deeper levels of your skin with antioxidants. So using a sort of rich, hydrating, and also antioxidant-rich night cream is the thing to use in the evening. That's going to just help support your skin as it renews overnight. And actually, the physiology of your skin is that cell division more than doubles overnight. So your skin is very metabolically active overnight. So you want to kind of provide the skin cells with as much possible support as possible over that period of time. So using a night cream is something that I would add on as the third step in the daytime.
Okay, lovely. Can we do a very quick demo
Of course.
me putting on the SPF? So I'm going to take the
Yes.
SPF and put it on. And I also particularly want to showcase the fact that I have a beard. And so nowadays, obviously, a lot of men have beards. And we get this question a lot. So wait, where should my SPF go because I have a beard? Do I just cover this? Do I just do that? So I would love to get a little bit of help and advice. So first of all, I've opened this up. How much of this should I put onto my
I would put
or where would I put it?
Of this one, just put it on your palm and do maybe 2 pumps.
So two pumps.
Yep.
And that's about this much?
About that much, yeah.
Okay.
It's an inorganic screen that's in it, so you actually don't need a huge amount of it.
Okay.
And then what I would usually do is do a line across the forehead.
Okay.
A line across the cheek.
Okay.
Side. Some on the dorsum of the nose.
All right.
And then some on I would actually sort of tap it onto your beard as well. Like
just tap it like that onto the beard.
And then what you want to do is start from the beard.
Start from here.
Really massage it in onto the chin.
Yeah.
And then on the cheeks, go right up to the kind of bony ridge of your eye.
Okay.
And then massage that down onto the rest of the cheeks, up into the temples.
Okay.
And then on the nose, sweep it down across the nose.
All right.
And then from the last bit that you've got here, sweep upwards and across the forehead.
Lovely.
And massage that in. And it should just be a very thin film. The nice thing about All Day Long is that it's a thin product. It shouldn't feel hot and sticky and thick on your skin. It shouldn't leave any kind of whitish cast or anything. I just rub that in nicely, and then that's you good to kind of go about the day.
That actually felt quite nice too. I know, of course, I'm quite convinced, of course, that I'm gonna get all day long protection, but also it felt a bit therapeutic. It felt a little bit like a massage. And to be honest, one of the best things about it is also how it makes you feel, right? Do you ever try and tell your patients about that? So what is the psychological benefit too of investing?
I think that you feel like you're proactively doing something to support the health of your skin. So so I think that is a large part of it. And now, I mean, I've been using sunscreen for years, but I kind of now can't be without it because I know that it's doing benefit, and I feel very aware if I've ever sort of had to run outside without sunscreen on, that actually you can almost feel the damage happening to your skin. So I think it's that kind of supporting your health feeling that you get from it.
Oh, lovely. Okay. I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm very curious to hear, David, what led you to partner with Humanery? You have an exceptional brand.
Yeah, I think that my brand fits very well with the kind of male market, because men generally want some things that are going to work, and they want things that are going to be straightforward to use, that cut out the fluff that often is the case, and that are quite intuitive as well. So you would read what it is, you know that you use this all day long, and it's just very simple, straightforward, and it provides you literally everything that you need. So I think this kind of sort of capsule approach in men's skincare is kind of ideal for the men's market. So, and I saw Humanery before I met you or anything. I saw Humanery, the ads on the tube, and that's how I heard about it. And then just one thing led to another, and then I thought you'd be a great partner, because you're kind of approaching things in a new way for men and providing a platform that really speaks to men who are sort of interested in skincare, maybe new to it, but in a very kind of approachable way. So I thought that fits very well with the way that I like to approach things as well.
Lovely. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that. Really appreciate it. And then before we talk a little bit more about education and your own story a little bit more, what plans do you have for the future with the Dr. David Jack brand? Anything you can share with us?
So I've got some more products coming later in the year. As I said, cleansers are quite another step in the skincare routine that I don't have currently in my brand, but we're bringing out some cleansers. I also have supplements as part of my brand, which I think the kind of inside out way of approaching skin health is very important. And actually, as we've touched on earlier with my past experience in burn surgery, nutrition and sort of healing and skin health was one of the major sort of takeaway messages that I had from my training and that. So I've always wanted to have supplements as part of my brand. So I've got supplements launching very soon. They're actually already there, but we're kind of relaunching them as well with kind of good formulations and nice sustainable packaging and things. So that's kind of the shorter term. Longer term, I think it's kind of bringing out more kind of targeted in-clinic treatments as well, that with sort of professional products as well, and also kind of developing clinic partners that will kind of do the treatments as well with my professional products.
Yeah, very exciting. Well, all the best, and we're so excited to see all the new developments that come out and how we can support you in the future. David, can you tell us about an inspirational moment in your life where someone that you really looked up to inspired you in the way that they overcame adversity or any challenge, and then it felt initially like an impossible mission, but through their tenacity or through their this grit, they were able to overcome, and they inspired you?
I'd say probably the person who inspires me most, because I'm a real fan of like physics and quantum mechanics and things. So I'd say Stephen Hawking's. He's like, definitely one of my heroes. Who obviously he overcame a horrendous neurological disorder, which he was diagnosed with when he was starting his PhD, and could have just kind of left things, said, "Oh, I'll be dead in a few years, so what's the point in continuing?" But he had such a passion for what he was doing that he kind of continued. He sort of lived much longer than was expected, and also was one of the most kind of inspirational physicists that there is, who has contributed so much to our understanding of the galaxy and energy and quantum mechanics and black holes and things, that I'd say that this kind of overcoming such a huge challenge, but then to become somebody who like leads the world almost in his field, is a real inspiration. And I think that it just goes to show that anybody can kind of achieve anything if they set their mind to it and don't focus on the barriers that are holding them back. So
lovely. That's very inspiring. Really, honestly, that's very inspiring. So, David, one of the things we keep hearing about is how does skincare vary in seasons? What would be your advice for skincare in the summer?
Okay, so in the summer, usually the skin is obviously exposed to more UV light, which means that there's sort of slightly higher levels of inflammation in the skin, and it also becomes more sweaty and oily. So it does present a bit of a challenge for kind of tailoring your skincare, because anything that sort of sensitizes your skin to UV light is probably less suitable in the summer. So strong retinoids and things that will kind of make your skin more sun sensitive and also dry your skin out are not a good idea to use necessarily, particularly if you're starting your skincare journey. But if you are kind of already on that journey, you're using sunscreen and things, you can actually use more gentle retinoids, like what's in Goodnight, my night cream. But I just wouldn't use something like tretinoin or sort of more intense prescription retinoids. During the summer, because we're sweating a bit more, we obviously have to be using more sunscreen, so reapplying that a couple of times through the day is important. And also, people don't tend to like really thick moisturizers and stuff in the summertime, because they do feel that they're maybe clogging a bit more. So using a light moisturizer, if you feel that you have to use a moisturizer in addition to your sunscreen, would be the way to change things in the summer. But essentially, as I said, between different skin types and things, during the summer, the needs of your skin don't really change. You still have this need for antioxidants, you still have this need for UV protection, and also for support as your skin renews overnight. So that doesn't change. And also the need for internal support with supplements doesn't change either.
Understood. Okay. Anything that people should do differently in the winter?
Yeah, not necessarily. Again, because winter and central heating things do sometimes dry your skin out a bit. So sometimes people will feel they need a bit more moisture moisture in the form of moisturizers in the winter time. But that being said, if you've got a good and simple skincare routine year round, then you shouldn't necessarily need to change that. And I personally don't. I use the same thing year round.
So seasonality is not really something. It might just be.
I wouldn't say it's a major thing. I think it's more partly a marketing thing. But yeah, good skincare should do year round, but just more sunscreen in the summertime.
Understood. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So now we'll talk a bit about different product types. What are some of the differences? Because there's a lot of jargon out there, right? So number one, what is a serum and how is that different from any other moisturizer?
Yeah. So a serum is more taken to be, all of these things are very loose terms anyway, but serum is more a kind of concentration of active ingredients in a semi-fluid to gel form, I would say. That's usually clear rather than a cream, and would be the kind of first step in your kind of skincare routine generally after cleansing. That's probably what serum is.
All right, so what is an eye cream and how do people use an eye cream? What are some of the benefits of an eye cream?
Sure. So the skin around about the eyes is quite delicate, and more delicate than elsewhere in the face, slightly thinner. You can generally see the structures underneath the skin of the eye, like blood vessels and muscle, a bit more clearly than you can elsewhere in the face because it's got a slightly thinner dermis under the eye. Generally, also the skin, because it's around about the eye, is slightly more sensitive than to products and ingredients versus skin around the rest of the face. So you need to be using eye creams that contain sort of slightly lower levels of active ingredients generally than the rest of the face, and also ingredients that are going to stimulate collagen production and sort of improve the quality of the skin in that area. So using a separate eye cream is quite it's something that if you don't have sensitive skin generally, you can use your normal products. If you do have more sensitive skin and you're seeing thinning of the skin, then using a separate eye cream can be quite helpful because you get slightly lowering levels of ingredients, but still ingredients that will stimulate collagen without irritation. Yeah.
Gotcha. And what is the step at which point you would use an eye cream if you had?
Would use that probably at the same step as doing the serum on the rest of the face before putting on the SPF.
Okay, understood. All right, cool. And David, what causes wrinkles and baggy eyes and dark circles? A lot of people ask us about that. How do we solve that for?
Wrinkles and dark circles, it's a very kind of complex anatomical area around about the eye. And what happens as we age, and often there's a genetic predisposition, is that the orbit of the eye, so the orbital margin of the bone of the eye socket actually increases in aperture as we age. So what happens to all of the structures that sit on top of that, they start to kind of sag downwards. You get loss of support underneath the eye, which then causes the skin a bit to be like a slightly deflated balloon where you see the surface tension reducing, so it becomes more crinkly with time. Also, as a result of UV damage from sunlight, the dermis of the skin, which is the collagen sort of supportive layer, thins over time, so the skin becomes more crinkly. And then the muscle around about the eye, because it pulls directly on the skin, causes these crinkles to get deeper and deeper and deeper with time as the muscles where it inserts, the skin becomes thinner in particular points. So you get these kind of crow's feet and you get crinkly kind of muscle effects of the skin. So this is quite a complex picture that results in from volume change, from changes in the muscle and changes in the skin itself. And often if you have a genetic predisposition to pigmentation change, this area, because it's very sensitive, the melanocytes in this area, so the pigment producing cells just produce lots and lots of pigment. So you get these dark grooves developing in addition to the volume, the kind of craters that develop around about the eyes. So it's quite a complex thing and usually best dealt with skincare products and then often with treatments as well.
Right, so you have to combine both products and some sort of treatment.
Exactly.
Okay, lovely. Last question, I promise, and that is there a difference in skin between men and women, male, female? What are those differences?
Yeah, there are differences. As I said, the skin, the anatomy and the histology of the skin is pretty much exactly the same, with the exception that often in men the dermis is slightly thicker, so the supporting collagen-rich layer of the skin that actually gives your skin substance is often slightly thicker in men than women. And also the skin in men, because of testosterone, is slightly more glabrous and oily. So that's a consideration when it comes to products. But as I said, with good medical grade products, you shouldn't really need to distinguish between the two if you're using the correct sort of anti-inflammatory ingredients and antioxidant ingredients. The needs will be the same, but it's just more the structure is ever so slightly different in the thicknesses of different layers and the oiliness.
Gotcha. And does it make any difference for men, especially those who don't have beards and shave their face, let's say every day? Does that require?
Sure, it does, because each time that you're shaving, you're exfoliating the lower part of your face, which can often make the skin a bit softer if you're doing a kind of wet shave. So it just means that this area will sometimes be a bit more sensitive because it's got less kind of resilience of a slightly thinner epidermal layer, which is the kind of protective layer of the skin. So you just need to be aware of that when using products, that they might sting a bit more, they might cause a bit more redness in the beard area, and it's really important to use things that are anti-inflammatory. So ingredients like azelaic acid are great for that.
Oh, lovely. Okay, cool. David, now we're going to end the segment with a quick rapid fire round. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and
Sure.
I'd like to give you no more than 1 second to respond. So it needs to be very, very quick. And this is a way for our audience to get to know you as a person real quick, and some of it will be a bit funny, but no time for thinking here. Just tell me your first gut response.
Okay.
Celebrity that you think has the best skin?
So probably Kate Blanchett.
Ooh, lovely. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. One item you never leave home without?
Aside from sunscreen, my AirPods. So that I can
That's an important one. All
Yeah.
right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, 100%.
All right. Yoga or weight training?
Weight training.
Lovely. Most memorable starstruck moment?
Probably. I would say being on the radio with Graham Norton.
Ooh, wow, very cool. All right. Last thing you do before going to bed?
Meditation.
Oh, really? Wow, that's so cool.
Always.
Amazing. Well, David, thank you so much for being here with us at Groom A with Humanery. We've learned so much from you. It's been awesome. And we're also very excited about the future of your brand. We're so happy that you're with us. For all those that are watching and listening, you can actually use a one-time discount code podcast10 on Humanery to get Dr. David Jack's products. They're all here. And we really encourage you to try them out. Thanks again, David, for joining us. And hope to see all of you back again soon.
Great. Thank you.
Right.